Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of my DM Diaries. Today we're going to go over Campaign 2, Episode 11 and Episode 12, The Dark Cube and the Iron Giant. So in this session, the party realized that there was a lot more to this necromancer's field laboratory than what was originally planned. During their night's watch, as they complete a long rest, they hear this sound of teleportation in the laboratory. And upon further investigation, they learn that some things were taken from the field laboratory. In addition, when they investigated the cube, they learned that the cube has somewhat of a curse to it. Apparently, because of this cube, somehow a skeleton that they brought out from the laboratory was suddenly reanimated, and attuning to it brings out some special effects, which I'm not going to say here because who knows, maybe one of my players is watching this. When they're back in town, they take the job quest to test out equipment, which is the durability of a robot or an automaton or a golem for the Wizarding Environment Protection Agency, known as WEPA. And that was a pretty fun encounter because what was super cool about that was just the whole modernness of it. Going against the old, I want to say, high fantasy guard of the party, because the party themselves are not very modern-esque. They're very traditional in their overall viewpoint. After that, they decide to go shopping. They pick up a few things for their travels and eventually make their way northwards, where instead of the initial desert that they came from, they have to cross the Deadlands, which is a battleground, a large-scale, countrywide scale battleground where gods fought amongst each other, and that was the end of the session. I'm very surprised by how a lot of the things went. I remember before that Libby as a character was saying like how she wants, spooky stuff, and she is all for the necromancer's abilities. But she didn't get the cube, which, happens. I was very surprised about how hesitant the party was when it comes to an in-game economy. When I initially wrote this campaign and I pitched it to my players, I told them that it would be tactical. And I think when my players saw that, they immediately thought combat, which is true. However, it's not just combat, it's also the stuff that you buy. Because we didn't have that a lot last campaign. We mainly had enemies to fight, and then when the party would defeat the enemies, they would just take their items because that's what you do in combat, or just not take it at all, which is a different way to play the game. But this is just very interesting because now I can see how thoughtful the party is, and as a DM, I always like to have my players think about certain things. When the party fought when they fought Prince, or PRX-20, the automaton Iron Giant, I introduced the idea of high-level enemies that they can just come across that they probably do not want to face. Because magic in this time period is so common and condensed that it's becoming evolved in this global landscape. When the party starts fighting, they have this, right now, their tendency is do as much damage as in the first round, because with their abilities, with Rage and from William's Barbarian ability and the Ambush ability that is pretty broken in early game, but the Ambusher ability that Gloomstalkers have, once you have flanking, and because flanking is a thing that I put in my campaign, it's essentially hard to get after the first round, because I think when I did the calculations and on Excel, the total damage that they did to Prince was about almost like 60 points of damage, which is a lot for a third level party. And I know that it's part of the abilities, but yeah, that's what they're good at, and it's something that I'll have to plan around. After the game, the party reached level 4, which is the next step, and we memed a lot before when players would just ask me, hey, did we level up? Hey, did we level up? After every single session, which was pretty much what happened last campaign, because I was essentially basing experience on the number of sessions that we all spent together. But now that we are doing this more consistently and it's all online, I wanted to have the impact of a milestone. And I think completing all of the missions and buying a lot of stuff for their next leg of the journey, I think it definitely warrants a level up. So now they're level 4. However, the journey is a week to Sofafum, which is the next city that they have to go to. I'm very interested to see what's next, and I hope you will enjoy the journey with me. So that's it for this week's DM Diaries. Let me know how you feel about the short, concise, I guess, format for this show, and I will hang out in the comments to just talk about the session and D&D in general. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. So bye guys.